No one noticed when he stopped smiling. But that night, even the silence screamed for help. Have you ever felt like you were crumbling on the inside, but no one seemed to notice? Marco felt that way every day. But on that particular night, something finally snapped. And what happened next would either change his destiny or end it all. He was in his early 20s. His shoulders were slumped, as if carrying a weight the entire world couldn't see. Broke, directionless, and holding a secret that made him wake up in a cold sweat. People looked at him and quickly looked away, maybe out of fear, maybe because they recognized that pain and pretended not to. But Marco decided he was done. It was now or never. So he climbed the forbidden mountain. They said an old man lived there who could see things no one else could. Things you try to hide even from yourself. Why did he go there? Because sometimes the only way out is to confront the thing you've avoided your entire life. This journey isn't just his, it's yours too. Because when he reaches the summit, something is going to happen. And when it does, you'll understand why this story was made for you. At night, the village slept under a thick blanket of quiet. But inside Marco, the silence was a prison filled with screams no one heard. His mind was a dead-end maze. Thoughts came like thunder, fast, heavy, uncontrollable. What if I end up like my old man? What if I'm never enough? What if no one ever finds out what really happened? It was like living with a hurricane in his chest. On the outside, a calm face, eyes downcast. On the inside, chaos, guilt, and the constant fear of being exposed. Marco tried to smile, but his muscles wouldn't cooperate. He tried to sleep, but his pillow became a battleground. He no longer knew if it was the past that held him captive or the future that terrified him. And when the pain finally spilled over, he did the only thing left. He left in search of the man who lived alone on the mountaintop. The man who, they said, had already died inside and come back. At the top of the most forgotten mountain in the region, there was a wooden cabin that resisted time like a well-kept secret. An old man lived there with a white beard, deep eyes, and rare speech. They said he was a former psychologist who, after losing everything, chose never to descend again. Others swore he saw things ordinary eyes couldn't. His name was lost to the years. Now they called him simply the Seer instead of Silence. While Marco was a storm, the Seer was a lake. While Marco ran from his thoughts, the old man listened to every single one without needing words. His presence wasn't comforting, it was disarming. It was as if time slowed down near him, as if for a moment the world stopped, just to hear what he had to say. But he didn't speak. Not at first. Instead, he pointed to a narrow trail behind the cabin and whispered, "If you want the roadmap, first, walk." Without understanding why, Marco obeyed. He followed the trail that started behind the cabin, a narrow, winding path surrounded by trees so dense that the sun barely touched the ground. The silence there was thick, almost solid. With every step, something inside him seemed to resist. The slippery rocks, the branches scraping his skin, the shortness of breath. Everything seemed to be screaming, "Turn back. Cut your losses." But he kept going. There was something about that trek that wasn't just physical. It was as if, with every foot gained, an old thought dissolved and a new fear surfaced. He walked for hours, maybe days. Time had lost its meaning, until at the top of a ridge, he found the old man waiting for him, sitting, motionless, as if the seer already knew exactly where Marco would stop. And then, for the first time, the old man spoke with authority. "All right. You're ready for the test." The old man extended his hand. In it, there was nothing, just the gesture. But his voice cut the air with precision. "Take the cup. It's filled to the brim." Marco looked, confused. "There's nothing there, old-timer." "Yes, there is. It's filled with everything you carry." The old man stood up and pointed back down the path. "Your test is simple. Get back to my cabin without spilling a drop." Even without seeing it, Marco felt the weight. It was like holding his own fear in his hands. Every step was a dance with imbalance. His mind screamed, "What if you mess this up?" His body trembled. "This doesn't make any sense." But the silence watched. Birds scattered around him. The wind seemed to mock his every move. And Marco, he was sweating as if he carried molten lead. There were just 5 steps left. The ground slanted. His hands trembled. And then he tripped. Marco fell to his knees. His hands clutched at the emptiness. The cup was gone. The contents were lost. And for the first time, he wept. But the old man didn't move. He just approached slowly and said, "You didn't fail. You only showed what you always do with your pain. You pretended it didn't exist, and yet you tried to white-knuckle it anyway." Marco looked up silently. "Your mind lives in yesterday, your fear in tomorrow, and you forgot about the moment right now." The old man then extended his hands again. "You cannot carry what you refuse to see. Peace isn't in holding on, it's in letting go." Short sentences, like blades, cutting through the veil of the mind. When your focus is on the present, fear loses its grip, and the cup won't spill. In that instant, Marco didn't understand everything, but he felt something he hadn't felt in years: lightness. And that's how his transformation began. Marco descended the mountain in silence, but this time it wasn't a heavy silence. It was the silence after the storm, the one that comes when the thunder quits and the soul can breathe. The trees seemed less suffocating. The rocks were still there, but he no longer stumbled over them. The path was the same, but the one walking it no longer was. On the horizon, the sun broke through for the first time in weeks, and in that instant, he heard something he hadn't heard in years: the sound of his own laughter. Low, hoarse, real. Marco smiled, not because everything had changed on the outside, but because, for the first time, he had changed on the inside. And maybe, just maybe, someone like you is also carrying an invisible cup. The old man went back to his cabin. Marco back down to the village. But the invisible cup, he left it behind. Now he knew. The real transformation doesn't start when the world changes. It starts when you pause, take a breath, and choose to live in the present. And if this story hit home for you, if, for a moment, you felt like you're also holding on to something invisible, then this video is for more than just watching. Share this message with someone who needs to let go of what they're carrying. Comment below, "I choose the now." smash that like button and subscribe to catch the next story that might change your path. Because sometimes all we really need is a simple reminder that the cup is, and always was, in our hands.